They talk about it every day, somewhere. If I go to a foreign country, magic, magic, what magic? I mean, it's the same everywhere.
We don't have to see each other. We don't have to say hello. We don't have to call each other.
That's my main competition. It's always been like that.
You know you got this tight bond with this cat, and you don't have to see him for a year or two. But you're always going to be linked to him.
We got this connection that's never going to be broken. I mean, right to our graves. They'll be talking about this 100 years from now.
It all began here in Salt Lake City, Utah, on the night of March 26, 1979. It was the NCAA championship, Indiana State versus Michigan State, a game that still ranks as the highest-rated college final ever on television. A game that's now remembered as a prologue to a rivalry that transformed a sport and intertwined two legacies. But on that night, March 26, 1979, the first time Magic Johnson and Larry Bird ever went head-to-head on a basketball court, they were simply two young men trying to win a very big ball game.
Well, this is probably the biggest game I'll ever play in my life, and I just feel like, you know, I'm representing not only myself, my team, but we're representing our school and our town, Terre Haute.
Well, it's a dream come true, really, for me. I won the state title back in my home state, and then my next accomplishment was going to the NCAA and playing in a game like tonight in the finals.
They were two stars thrown together by the cosmos to compete, but only one of them had been groomed for the spotlight. In his case, it seemed since birth.
I think his upbringing in East Lansing really put that smile on his face in the beginning, and it never came off.
Born August 14, 1959, Irvin Johnson grew up in Lansing, the gritty industrial capital city of Michigan. Raised under this little roof, he was one of Christine and Irvin Johnson Sr.'s 10 kids. Christine was a school custodian, while Irvin Sr. worked 2 jobs nearly around the clock.
My father, he got up early every morning, 6 o'clock or so, and he went to work on his trash hauling truck every single day. Around noon, he would come home, catch a nap, and then he worked for General Motors for 30 years. And he won an award for never being late and never missed a day.
As a youngster, Irvin displayed his own strong work ethic on the blacktop.
I was out there all day long. Before we went to school, the bus leave at 7:30. I was out there at 6:30 working on my game. My mother sometimes had to bring me food, or she would have one of my brothers and sisters, go get that boy so he could eat something.
From a very young age, Irvin knew what he wanted to do. He had it all planned out.
My dreams were to play in the NBA and become a businessman.
The first neighborhood basketball powerhouse, Sexton High.
I knew the players, I knew the tradition. I wanted to be a part of that. And it was on the west side of town, which was, at that time, predominantly black.
But when Lansing, like many cities in the mid-70s, began busing to desegregate its school system, Irvin's journey took an unexpected detour to a predominantly white school across town.
My first day at Everett High School was my first time I really had to understand there was a race problem. Nobody white would speak to anybody black, and nobody black would speak to anybody white.
A lot of racial tension, a lot of fights, rioting. They didn't want minorities there.
He kind of shrugged it off, and basically his attitude was, okay, well, I'll overcome this.
Whenever there was any racial problems, the principal would get Irvin and go talk to these kids. I can just see him with his big hands. Calm down, just calm down. He'd break up fights.
Talk with his friends, tell him, let it go. We can't fight about everything. Let's just chill, let's play basketball.
And there was no dispute over Irvin Johnson's ability to play ball. His talent was so great that soon after his varsity debut, a local reporter, dazzled by his exploits, gave the budding star a nickname.
In the beginning, I thought it was foolish and dumb. I didn't know nothing about a nickname. Then what happened was, you start saying, wait a minute, it fits my game. Hanging out with my boys on the street corners, we used to sing Temptation songs. They started saying, hey man, Magic, that's cool. And then people on the street started saying, hey Magic. And I said,
He bought into it, and I think he felt he had to kind of live up to that name. And I must say that he did.
He loved it. The more attention he got, he wanted attention from anybody he could get it from.
Yeah, it does. I really love the game, and I just want to win.
Gets it over and back, and he jams it through. Irvin Johnson.
Irvin loved to dress. Nice sandal belt pants and overcoats with the fur around the collar. Always had to have his afro blown out. He had to look the part, play the part.
Irvin was the first guy to have a posse. He not only had a posse of a lot of black kids, he had a lot of white kids and hanging around him.
Some of my white friends was like, hey man, we're having a kegger tonight, won't you come on by? And I said, what's a kegger? So he said, well, what it is, we get this big keg of beer and you just go for it. Okay, well, what time does the kegger start? Because regular party time in our neighborhood is 10, 11 o'clock. The kegger starts at 7. I said, the party starts at 7 o'clock? And I said, okay, man, I'm gonna come to the kegger. We had a good time. The music was kind of bad, but we had a good time,
His senior year, Johnson did at Everett what he had planned to do at Sexton, win the state championship. And when it came to choosing a college, he decided to stay where the love would be assured, home in Lansing.
Next year, I will be attending Michigan State University.
At MSU, Magic's star quickly went national. But atop the college game, he soon discovered a certain presence beside him.
The first time I saw Larry Bird was actually in a magazine. Saw his stats, blown away by his stats. But let's see if he can really do it against us. And that's always a mindset of black players if he's a great white player.
In 1978, after his freshman year, Magic would quickly find out, when both he and Bird were chosen to play for Team USA in the World Invitational Tournament.
They would put Larry Bird and I on the same team together to scrimmage, right? It was blowing my mind because he's dominating Jack Givens, Player of the Year in college basketball. Larry Bird is eating him alive. I couldn't wait to call home to tell my boys, man, this dude named Larry Bird is for real. This is the baddest white dude I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I thought he was very good. There's no question about it. I thought he's probably the best guard on the team.
Irvin Johnson, look at that.
We didn't get to play a lot, but you could tell.
I think our first game was in Kentucky. We got about a 10, 12-point lead. Man, they put us in. Went to 25, 30, just that fast.
Fast break again, 3-on-2. Griffith. Look at that steal by Larry Bird.
Take us out, the lead go back down, put us back in.
That's Bird and Johnson.
The show start again.
When you play with Magic, there's just something about it. You want to make that extra pass. You want to get that rebound and start to break.
We came down a couple times. I go behind my back, no look to him. He no look back to me. And I